Hey everyone, Ahmed here. We talk about two topics on today's episode, one being porn addiction and chronic masturbation. We cover a Harper's article about the phenomena known as gooning, and then a seemingly unrelated topic about a woman on Instagram who goes by Kylies Muse, who, based on our analysis, may or may not be a CIA plant, but in her exploration of Islam, details, a lot of comments from Dawa bros and, people who, instead of being encouraging on a spiritual path, end up being just critical and turning people off. In an effort to kind of bridge these two subjects, um, I really wanted to play this clip that I saw after the fact of Dr. Khalid Abu Fadl, who is an Islamic legal scholar in California, or maybe now in Ohio, I think, with the Osili Institute. So, in this clip, he talks about the kind of Muslim bros and the Wahhabists who say a woman's voice is haram because it is potentially arousing to a man, and so therefore is not appropriate to uh, be the voice of the adhan or the call to prayer. And to me, this Khalid Abul Fadl makes this case in a different way than I would, but it's a weird thing to say. It almost makes it seem like these people see everything through pornographic terms, much like the gooners described in the Harpers article, and then try to make everything haram because they just can't handle themselves. Like the people who are also mentioned in the second half of the conversation. Anyway, it's a very cathartic clip, so I hope you enjoyed as much as I did.
You notice today that the first adhan was in the voice of a woman. And it just so happens to be that this woman is Grace, my wife. Some of you will say, haram. The voice of a woman is awra. Okay, fine. I will discuss this with you. But first, liberate Al-Aqsa Mosque, and then we'll talk about it. First, prevent Israel from annexing and stealing Palestinian lands, and then we'll talk about it. First, stop China from the Holocaust they're committing against Muslims, and then we'll talk about it. I am sick and tired of this stupidity. I don't care. Frankly, I don't care anymore whether the voice of a woman is awra or not. Because the disaster we are confronting is of proportions that I have nothing to say to those who care. What do you say? What do you say about a religion that wants to silence half of the population of the world? If you are aroused by a woman doing adhan, commit yourself to a mental institute immediately. And this is all I have to say to you. Run, rush, get help. Because you're ill, you're sick. You need urgent care.
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Field Between, the number one spooky podcast. My name is Ahmed.
I'm Yasmine.
And we're in the middle of settling a debate about whether or not you can eat a pumpkin that has been painted and sitting next to another pumpkin that is molding.
Ahmed is very particular with food. He's very quick to throw things out. I'm arguably the opposite, to be fair. We're kind of extremes in this case. But I really, think about it. So this pumpkin has not been carved. It was painted a little bit on the outside. I'm not suggesting that we eat the rind. I'm suggesting that we cut into it and eat the guts because I want to make pumpkin muffins. So also get baked and cooked.
But you can see what sort of shape it's in, but it's painted
and it's sitting next to the other pumpkin, which is moldy. So I'm assuming it's also moldy.
I'll see what shape it's in. Would that make a difference for you? Because I think that I agree. If it's molding, then I wouldn't want to eat inside of it. But if
I
it's
have
not,
to inspect it.
okay. But if it's not moldy, I think if we go deep inside, then we'll just be getting, the guts.
But I also, if you want to eat it so bad, you can eat it. I'm not stopping you.
But I want you to eat my muffins.
But if I don't, just on the basis of it being painted, if I'm like, I'd rather not, I should reserve the right to do that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna I can't force you to eat a muffin.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
but you seem to take offense.
Yeah, I'm offended.
Yeah, I think that's
I think I might have enough pumpkin guts left. No, I have more rind left from the other one. I don't really have any guts left from the pumpkin that we already carved up.
Yeah, pumpkins are cheap. We could get a pumpkin.
But it's a waste.
It's probably a waste to carve and paint on them.
I guess. Yeah.
But we do it because we're an apex predator and we can.
Do you think that any of
agriculture?
Do you think that any of the little pumpkins we have did they have guts? They're so small.
No,
they're so cute.
They're not edible.
They're not edible.
I mean, I'm sure they are, but you're not going to get anything out of them.
There won't be enough. Yeah, I just need a cup of pumpkin guts.
Yeah, we can buy a pumpkin.
No, I'm making them tonight.
Oh.
Yeah. We'll see. Anyway, if it's not caving in, I think that's reasonable.
Okay.
Our apartment looks very cute right now. We went to Trader Joe's and got lots of little pumpkins and gourds, so it's feeling very festive.
Yeah, we had a horror movie marathon yesterday.
It was crazy.
A fun time.
We went from noon to midnight. It was intense.
Yeah.
We watched 6 films.
Yes.
And the day before that, you and I watched a movie, and the day before that, you and I watched a movie. So in the
Yeah.
last 3 days, we've watched 8 horror films.
Yes.
Have you seen more than that? Did you
Yes.
catch? Yeah, you've maybe done 10.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it really cured me. I don't feel nervous about horror movies anymore, so that was cool.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
You like them.
Yeah, it was fun.
You just got to watch the right ones.
And I guess you just have to kind of do exposure therapy and watch a million.
Yeah.
But we both woke up feeling kind of hungover this morning. It was really funny.
Yeah.
I think just because we had so much sugar and candy, and it was really fun, but it's kind of
I didn't
disorienting.
have that much candy.
I did.
I had pizza.
Yeah. And you're allegedly low carbs. So that is hard on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not allegedly. You are. Oh, I forgot we had pizza.
Yeah, it's in the freezer. We have a
Oh,
bunch
nice.
of pizza.
I could pack that for lunch. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was super fun, super festive. People came in and out. It was cute. But yeah, we woke up this morning. We woke up so late and we were just so groggy and out of it all day. And I think today, right now, I'm finally feeling kind of my brain is back on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was kind of nice to have a lazy day, honestly.
That's chill.
Yeah.
What else?
Not much. Feeling anxious about writing, but not spending enough time on it.
Yeah, you really got to dive in.
Yeah.
You have the deadline coming up soon.
Yeah. I'm partying hard and working hard, and sometimes you can't do both.
That's true.
I need to party less.
You need to party less.
Yeah. Especially, all the things that make you a real wanted human. So I can still work on keeping my body working and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, besides that, it's just been a lot of nice, cozy fall vibes.
Nice.
Anything new?
I did my blood
interpersonally?
test.
Oh,
We
yeah.
haven't discussed that.
We haven't.
I might actually invite some people on to do a chronic pain episode.
That'd be cool. Maybe after you see if you get, you could also do one now and then one after you see if you get a diagnosis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That'd be interesting.
I think, long story short, I finally got the results of a blood test to look for a gene that the presence of which strongly indicates a autoimmune condition in the spine and can cause, a lot of pains that line up with the symptoms that I've been having and stuff like that. And I think the doctor was somewhat skeptical when I asked for the test, maybe even seemed a little bit annoyed that I was suggesting it, because it's something that I've been suggesting to doctors since this all started.
Which we said was 2016, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And none of them seemed to think it was anything that could be rheumatological. But anyway, so it came back positive that I do have the gene, and I finally got a referral to rheumatology. So we'll see.
It's super promising. I'm really hopeful. I feel not it's going to be a total fix, but just having a diagnosis would be so helpful in terms of pain management.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really proud of you. I feel like you've used this time off to do like a lot of testing, and even then, it's been crazy how slow it is to hear back from people and how hard it is to navigate. But that would be a really major win.
Be a huge win.
Yeah, it would
Yeah.
be.
Nothing would stop me.
No, I think
After that.
it would be very helpful. I mean, it sounds like it's still like a pain management thing. I mean, it's a chronic condition, so it's not like it's going to be a fix all, but it's very hard to like manage something if you don't know what's happening exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. What do we got for this episode? What do you have?
I got nothing.
You're empty-handed.
I have like 2 thoughts, but I want to just go through your stuff first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you like to start with a story about gooning, or would you like to start with attractive white trad somewhat Muslim woman?
There's so many different adjectives. What's gooning?
A story about masturbation,
Oh.
chronic masturbation.
That's what gooning is?
Uh-huh.
I was thinking of like Goonies, like the movie.
That's what the movie's about.
That's not what it's about.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with the masturbation story.
Okay. Have you heard Norman Finkelstein talk about gooning?
Nope.
This is kind of maybe one of the first times I've heard the term, but it's really funny. There's a clip of Norman Finkelstein. I guess he heard about the term, and then there's like a short clip of him talking about it.
Tell people who he is in case they don't know.
Now people know who Norman Finkelstein is.
The expression is gooning, Gooning.
Grooming or gooning?
Gooning, Gooning. It means basically being transfixed with porn, video porn, for like 24, 48 hours straight. If straight's the right word there. And
Implying this gay behavior.
And it struck me, now I know this is going to sound harsh, but it struck me that even though this crowd considered itself bohemian, and even though this crowd considered itself, what would you say, anti-establishment, it struck me this is exactly the crowd that would go over to fascism.
So
Who's he talking about?
So he's talking about gooning and gooners and how the group is kind of potentially a proto-fascist conglomeration of people. But there's this article that was in Harpers, The Goon Squad. When did it come out? Just a couple weeks ago, by a man named Daniel Kolitz. And it starts off really weird. I haven't read the whole thing yet, but we can go through a little bit of it.
I'm still confused though. On what basis does he think his people are fascist? I mean, it's a weird behavior, but is he just saying because it's like antisocial behavior, or they're likely to get radicalized?
Well, I think because
Desensitized to pain, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. You'll maybe come to your own conclusions after hearing this story, but I think it's like one of those things that people are going to try to say, this is an online subculture of a bunch of like guys who are disaffected and desensitized to a lot of stuff and are prone to, bad politics because of
It's
this.
probably true, but I feel like it's maybe like a correlation, not causation thing. It sounds like these are people who are like, anyone who's online for 24 hours, period, that's really not great for your brain. Plus, if you're watching like porn where people are being degraded, that's really bad for your brain and your soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, I don't know if that makes you more likely to be, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, let's hear.
Yeah. Okay. So this story subtitled Loneliness, Porn's Next Frontier and the Dream of Endless Masturbation. This past January, a few dozen young men in hoodies and baggy jeans congregated outside a coffee shop in Tempe, Arizona to mourn the death of a 27-year-old man named Nautica Malone. They arrived on foot and riding shotgun in parents' cars. They carried flowers and votive candles, homemade placards, and shirts printed with Malone's smiling face. The cafe where they were gathered, Bikini Beans, was part of a chain whose baristas wear bikinis. Days earlier,
It's like Hooters for people who don't drink.
they could drink, but it's also like just like a drive-through bikini coffee
Got
place,
it.
which I think are really popular in the Pacific Northwest too.
Well, that's because, I mean, at least in Portland, Oregon, we had like the highest number of strip clubs per capita. So yeah, they did every kind of like version of that you can imagine.
Yeah. The cafe where they gathered bikini beans was part of a chain whose baristas wear bikinis. Days earlier, Malone had pulled up to the drive-through window, nude from the waist down, hand on his penis. The barista was already filming by the time the car reached her window.
Good for her.
It's hard to say why this particular sex crime went viral. Maybe it was something about Malone's expression. He looked confident, even sultry. Like he was hoping to somehow seduce the barista.
Oy.
Whatever the reason, the video was soon inescapable online. The view count was still climbing when Malone drove a few towns over and shot himself in the head in the front seat of his Dodge Challenger, leaving a note to his wife and young children.
Oh, gosh.
Asking for their forgiveness.
Absolutely not. No forgiveness.
Yeah, that's so it sounds like he was jerking off in the drive-thru of this coffee place.
Very sad and embarrassing.
And he was filmed doing it, which I'm not really sure like what you expect.
Yeah, especially, I mean, if someone's trying to protect themselves. Ugh.
What an embarrassing way for your dad to die.
Yeah, it doesn't
Usually
get much worse
people
than
who,
that.
like kids in school whose dads died, you feel, you know, you're like, oh man, I feel sorry for you. What a tragic story. But then if you're like, yeah, my dad died because he got embarrassed because there's a video of him jerking off in a drive-thru.
I have been thinking more about like masculinity stuff lately. I do feel sad for like young men who are so disaffected and like so removed from what it means to be like socially connected to other people. Like it is kind of like comedic, obviously, and like just the idea is like taken to such an extreme of like masturbating for 24 hours. No one can physically do that. So you're just watching bodies. And also that you would form community around that is really sad.
Yeah.
That's like a point of connection because you have nothing else to connect to people about. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it pretends something really dark. And I think this is like a picture of one of the many ways that there are just some fundamental social contracts that are just unraveling. And young men in particular are just kind of going feral and publicly acting on their most kind of like primal or like base instincts. I think like the idea that you are just like so caught on the hedonic treadmill that you, even in public, you can't go and not like get a coffee without jerking off while getting the coffee or making some sort of like weird sexual advance.
I was gonna say, in that case, it seems like you're also trying to make someone else uncomfortable in order to
Yeah,
get
but it's
off.
still
Yeah.
kind of like based on this, you know, very libidinal impulse that you're not really thinking through, and you're acting out this thing that most people, you know, don't act out in this way. And if it really is, I mean, I'm going to question also in the story whether this is like a real trend or if it's something that people are just trying to invent the same way that they say like, oh, you know, kids eat Tide Pods and look at this.
Right. And it's like a few kids did it, but it wasn't
Yeah.
like a massive, yeah.
Yeah. But also, I mean, like you see this in other areas where there's just an increasing, you know, a lot more people are also, I talked to you about this the other day. There's the growing number of pedophile hunters on social media, like a bunch of young men streamers who just entrap guys mostly in like, you know, meetups with 14-year-olds or whatever, teenagers. They pretend to be teenagers and then they set up a meetup with some guy and then they entrap these people and live stream it. And a lot of it's just like very troubling because a lot of these situations just turn very violent, and it's under the guise of implementing some sort of social justice against these pedophiles.
But it's just vigilante style.
They're just doing, this vigilante style justice, and they're living out these like really weird.
Yeah, I feel like you explained it well to me because I was like, that's just so random. Like, obviously, pedophiles are bad, but I think it seems as if it's like the one group of people that's like socially acceptable to like do violence to. And so it's just like they want to do violence and, you know, they're looking for a target that is acceptable.
Yeah, it's really creepy. It's not like, oh, you're on the pedophile side, but it's also like I also don't agree that this is how our society should handle
Yeah.
dealing justice.
Right.
I remember one of the few videos of that I've seen was also like this guy had the rapper Lil Pump on, who's like this, I think he's Dominican or Puerto Rican
I've heard of him. Yeah.
rapper kid. And he like, yeah. But they tied a guy down to a chair, shaved his head, and then made him eat those chips that you can buy like one of that are super hot, like the world's hottest chip or whatever that one kid even died eating. I don't know if you heard about that.
Your feed is dark as hell, man.
Yeah. But so it was just like this like weird humiliation
Yeah, it's
ritual
weird.
that just like, I was like, this isn't a justice system.
Right. Yeah, I think kind of going back to the larger point of like there being a crisis of masculinity, I think there's a rising, I mean, there is obviously a rising tide of fascism, and that is sort of like welcomed, that kind of like libidinal sense of just unbridled masculinity. But then at the same time, there's a real loneliness. Like it's not ultimately fulfilling. People are more isolated than ever. And I think also there's probably frustrations for young men who like do find that path of like, I don't know, extreme forms of like whatever expressions of masculinity. They're kind of cartoonish, and like ultimately the kind of hollowness of it is probably then even more jarring after you've tried to find some sense of belonging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to the piece. He's saying gooning is a new kind of masturbation, as if like people are just like inventing this thing.
Laying in bed all day and masturbating. Yeah.
Rather than
as if that hasn't happened before.
rather than this is porn addiction that is downstream of a society that again is unraveling in many different ways that we don't need to go into on this episode, but has deeply alienated people, and they, not that they don't have an alternative, but that like the only sick sort of like twisted comfort that people can find in it that really meets some sort of like physical and emotional need is to like watch pornography.
You know what's a weird
and
thought I just
masturbate.
had?
What?
This is like not the same thing at all, obviously. But like the way we felt kind of drugged after watching 12 hours of movies.
Yeah.
Like there is something to like overindulging that can feel good when you do it not in excess, obviously. Like if we did that every day, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
It was kind of a hedonistic exercise.
No, we did it with friends. It was like a community thing.
That's true, but it was still 12 hours of movies. That's a lot.
Yeah, but I made food, I made bread, I made hummus, I made chai, I
know,
made
you
cider,
many tasty things.
I made butter.
It doesn't change the fact that we watch movies for 12 hours. Why is that?
No, it doesn't change. But like, it's not just like us by ourselves, just closing off
you're
from
right.
society and like watching this thing.
No, you're right. But there is something like, interesting about like in small doses overdoing something that feels good.
And I think the more pernicious thing about this particular is that, you know, porn is different from like any other form of
For
content,
sure.
right?
No, 100%.
In a very different way. And the delivery mechanism of pornography is evolving and like monetized in such a way that there are businesses, really large businesses, that are incentivized to just get you addicted to it. The same way that Meta and X and all these places are like need you to be on their
I think that's been true
platform.
of internet pornography for a long time. Yeah.
But it's growing, right? Like I think especially with the advent of AI, I don't know if you heard actually there's one of the companies, I think it might be OpenAI. So like up until now, they've had pretty heavy restrictions on being able to use their video generation AI to generate like adult themed content. And one of them just released like a payment plan where it doesn't have those restrictions. And so it seems like even the AI companies that did this from like an ethical standpoint at first has just been like, actually, I guess this is what people want and like what people want to make. So fuck it. Let's
I don't
lean
know.
into
It's
it.
weird to think about because like, AI generated content is based on existing content. So like in a way, it obviously will still be human and based on like human bodies. And it is disturbing to thinking about like how AI porn could like further remove us from what actual people look like and what like the way the actual bodies experience sex and, you know.
Okay, I'm going to skip down. I wanted to find these people. I wanted to talk to them. So he talks about how he like put out this survey to like learn more about self-identified gooners or whatever. When we spoke on the phone a few days later, goon cultist offered a deep prehistory of gooning. It is his contention that at least one strain of this practice has its origins among certain 4chan users who would play an image and text-based game called Fap Roulette on the site.
Ew.
Now imagine that the rules are, let me see. Imagine one of those niche small batch board games with multiple dice and 50-page rule books. Now imagine that the rules are poorly photoshopped onto an image of a ludicrously proportioned cartoon woman. Now imagine eating your own ejaculate. Oh, off
Wait,
the floor
what are you
because
talking about?
imagine eating your own ejaculate off the floor because the cartoon woman told you to. That is from what?
Again, this is something that, like, young men are playing together. This seems like
I don't
very
think
gay
so.
behavior.
I think this is just
not that that's bad, but like, or doesn't it just seems like very like homoerotic behavior?
Did people do this like in Rome?
What, a Fap Roulette?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Was there a
Why
version
are you
of that?
talking about Rome?
No, I'm just like, part of me thinks like the internet is just like a way for us to do things that we've already been doing for forever. But because everything's connected, we just know more about everything.
That's probably true to an extent. Yeah.
So were people like doing Fap Roulette in
I don't know if it was exactly called that,
Greece
or I don't know if it looked like that.
or some version of it, like where they were gambling with?
I don't know, man.
Jism?
There was all sorts of interesting sexual expression in ancient Rome and ancient Greece. They had different ways of thinking about like identity too, so it's kind of hard to like map that onto our present. But
He says in his survey he tried to figure out how long gooners masturbated because the popular conception is like
this is way more detailed than
all
I
day.
want, but okay.
For one thing, and crucially, most gooners do not regularly masturbate for 8 to 12 hours
Yeah,
at a stretch.
no shit.
As I had initially been led to believe, they tend to do that
Physically not possible.
only a few times a month,
Oh God.
with an average of 2 to 3 hours a day. That's still a lot,
That is a lot.
and that really breaks up your day, I assume.
Sounds like don't have any other activities that they are engaged in.
And then so here's the part where he asks like what it feels like, and people say it's like being high while high, intense bliss, pure happiness and love. It's so beautiful, it's sublime, like being washed away. It's like I'm in anti-gravity or covered in liquid, tingles all over me, brain fuzzy, skin tingling all over, no fears about coming. Because this was the real pleasure I was after, and I couldn't come at that point if I wanted to anyway.
I believe that. That makes sense. I think if you have any kind of repetitive thing that you engage with for a very long period of time, you get a kind of blissed out feeling.
Really?
I mean, yeah, I can resonate not for this activity, but like I've definitely experienced that. If you do something and you're really locked in and you're really in like a trance state, like, yeah, of course that feels good, but it's not healthy to disassociate for that long, that regularly.
Okay, so then if they're really getting some sort of spiritual meditative experience out of this, then is it good?
No, I think that's the point. I think people mistake that feeling of disassociating or disconnecting for like, I don't think it's good or bad. I think it's like what you're doing and what you do with it. Do you know what I mean? But I think like that is relatable for a lot of people to like have a state like that.
What if they were masturbating to a poem for 8 to 12 hours?
I mean, again,
would we have a different idea about it?
I'm still like think it's weird. I'm not trying to take away from the fact that it's like weird and kind of icky that they're masturbating for 12 hours. I'm just saying the description of like the high they get off of it is not like unique to doing that.
But is it icky because of the porn?
Yeah. It's also icky because they're masturbating, frankly. It's like a very like antisocial behavior to do for 12 hours. That's a whole day.
It's not prayer.
It's not. No.
It's not meditating. It's masturbating.
I mean, again, I think especially if they're watching like hardcore porn, then yeah, it's hard to say that there's some kind of like spiritual element. But like, I don't know. I guess it depends on your definition of spirituality. But that's my point is I think like disassociating and doing an activity really intensely and repetitively, it's not like inherently good or bad, right? It just, I mean, I think it's actually inherently a little bad. I think you have to be careful that you don't like lose yourself if you do stuff like that. Because then you're always chasing that feeling, or then like regular life feels boring, you know? Have you not had this experience? I feel like because you really,
Gooning?
no, but you really lock it on things. You would like make a painting for hours, or you would do like, you would sew, or you do a lot of like activities that you'll get like enraptured by and kind of focused on. Doesn't it feel kind of high?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I don't experience intense bliss or pure happiness and love while doing it.
How about when you make like a Lego structure, like that one that you made? You didn't experience a lot of feelings, just like being so focused on an activity and working through emotions for like hours?
No, I don't work through emotions on it. No.
What do you feel? Just focus?
Yeah.
Well, sounds nice.
Yeah, it's not bad. But I'm not like seeking some sort of spiritual.
It doesn't have to be spiritual.
No,
I
I'm not
think
saying
it's
it
just,
has
like,
to be, but it seems like
disassociative.
these guys are trying to, like, to them, they're kind of describing it in almost spiritual, like meditative terms.
I think, right. I think meditative is the key word, and like we can describe it as spiritual, but using like more neutral language, just like you can disassociate if you really hyper fixate on something and you don't sleep and you don't eat and like you just keep on doing a repetitive motion, and you can have feelings of grandeur and feelings of excitement. You know, it doesn't have to be like something that we as a society would deem like a positive action just because they have these feelings that kind of coalesce with what we would describe as spiritual.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always assume that you kind of felt that way. That's so interesting.
Don't assume.
I guess so.
Okay. He has a conversation here between two gooners from a Discord, I guess. They shared it. And they were engaging in wank battling.
Oh God, Ahmed. After this, I'm done. It was like kind of aching me out.
I learned all about it from Fuji, as he called himself, a 23-year-old Egyptian gooner I met while conducting supplementary fieldwork in a wank battling server.
A wank battling server?
Yeah, on Discord.
Okay.
Fuji, final season is approaching. Been gooning the past months. Do you want to get back to stroking together? I miss you so much.
Wait, what?
Beta loser responds. 100%. Me too, baby. I'm really sorry for quitting last time. Heartbreak emoji. Fuji responds. 2 hearts. Why are you apologizing? You did what you had to do. All good, ya habibi.
I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe like I'm being too normative in my thinking, but if I think about mutual masturbation, even if it's like over technology, if they're two real people, I kind of assume that there's like some sexual attraction between them, right? Like I can't imagine.
I think this is a new thing that you and I don't know, so we can't say.
You're so considerate of the community's identification.
No, but it's just like any time. I mean, I guess you can say in like broad terms, like sure, whatever. There's something homoerotic about it or whatever. But I don't. I think it would be a step too far to say like they must be attracted to each other. Then
you're probably right, but I don't know. That just sounds like I can't imagine like texting someone who I wasn't attracted to and being like, "Guess what's turning me on?" I don't know. That's so foreign to me. It sounds like they're doing it so much. It's not even very sexy anymore. It's like it's like texting your bros that you're playing FIFA or something.
Okay. Next up, this person I discovered. I don't know if you've seen her. She goes by Kylies Muse on Instagram.
Nope.
So she is a weird mix of things. She kind of embodies like the trad wife persona. She's like this attractive blonde white woman. And a while ago, she was posting a lot of videos about Islam and her like learning about Islam and like all these like really esoteric things about it.
Is she married?
She has kids. I don't think she is married anymore. She's like really into health stuff, into body stuff, and like making sure that you stay fit and like, yeah, pretty much everything that like a really Christian trad wife talks about, but she's not Christian, I don't think. And she's also not Muslim, but
She's interested.
I think for a while, as she was learning about Islam, it kind of, I don't think she shied away from making people believe that she had converted to Islam is the thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that benefited her image.
Interesting.
But anyway.
Just found her, yeah.
So she posted a video recently about why she kind of stopped posting about Islam, and we'll just kind of skip through it.
For months, I was sharing about my journey learning about Islam, and I was sharing my entire process of deconstructing a lot of the propaganda that I was raised on, because once I actually started learning about Islam, which was always a total religious blind spot for me. I never looked into it. It seemed very off limits. I was learning a lot of really shocking things. I was sharing about it, and I stopped. A lot of people have been wondering why I stopped, and I've been really trying to find the words to explain this in a way that is not offensive. So I want to preface this by saying that reading the Quran, reading the Sealed Nectar, reading a lot of like scholarly work about Islam, and listening to a lot of scholars, ironically, usually Western revert scholars, there is still so much beauty and a lot of really deep richness in Islam. I have criticisms, and some of them I do not believe can be.
Opioid addiction.
Don't know.
You and what you love. Once monthly Sublocade may help you move forward in your
reconciled. And I've tried to lightly explain the difference between Western-minded people versus people actually born into Islam in the East. A lot of people understood. Some people did not have any idea what I was saying. And that is indicative of the fact I do not believe that most born Muslims in the East have any idea what it is like to not live that way, to not be born into that. So with this, the most important thing in the world, in my opinion, for human beings is community. It is to genuinely assimilate with other people that are around you, that share a culture with you, and to elevate each other. That is literally how humans thrive. That is how they are successful. That's how they're happy. There is a 0% chance of a white Western revert person to assimilate into Islam unless they are literally immersed in a Muslim community.
Thoughts on this so far? That's like, it started off
Yeah.
okay, and then it kind of, and throughout the rest of the video, there's just like these sentences that you're like, are you CIA by
Right.
any chance? Like,
Definitely.
to just kind of make the argument that, and she's doing it in this, I don't know, maybe not so subtle way, but maybe somewhat subtle to some people and like seemingly harmless, of essentially saying what like Sam Harris and a lot of these people say is that Islamic values, whatever that means, or Islam is not compatible with the West, except she's kind of making it from, instead of going from general to general, she's kind of going from like a very specific to general. She's saying like, oh, I could never assimilate to Islam because I'm just like this Western white woman.
It's interesting that she also says that she read a lot of like academic stuff by Western reverts. I don't know how that squares away with what she's thinking about like Muslim majority places and spaces. But yeah, it's so confusing when people flatten any religious tradition that has thousands of people. In the case of Christianity and Islam, like, right, like over 1 billion. And then just act as if it's like, I mean, there's a whole book called Islam is a Foreign Country for this reason by Zarina Graywall, really great book. This idea that Islam is just a place that you can go visit. I mean, I work on this as well, like how people have used that idea in like ways that they found helpful or how they've used it in ways that are kind of harmful. But there just is no place. There's no one place where all Muslims live that you can go visit. Yeah, I mean, it's cool that she's reading like traditional biographies of the Prophet and stuff, but like that doesn't mean that she knows what it would be like to live in like Morocco or Indonesia or Pakistan or Egypt. Like, yeah, it doesn't give her any real world experience living in a Muslim majority context. You also don't have to live in a Muslim majority context to convert. It's not a requirement. There are vibrant Muslim minority communities all around the world, and there always have been.
It also kind of plays into the narrative that a lot of like very anti-Arab, anti-Islam, white like Western chauvinists make, which is they try to paint Islam as this like virus that's been introduced to the West, and its goal, right? Like you hear the a lot of this discourse with Zoran Mamdani. There's like their goal is to make us all into like obedient slave Muslim whatever, and that's where the reaction to that in the West is like all these former Marines and these white supremacist cops and people tattooing themselves infidel and now joining up with like the Gaza quote humanitarian foundation and going and shooting at Palestinians trying to get food. But I don't even know that is she says like, oh, Islam, like you need to it's universalist, sort of like it makes you have to assimilate. But I feel like there are, again, like lessons in Islamic history where it's like, oh, people didn't assimilate. Like
Right,
you have
and there's just so
couple-
many different cultural expressions of what Islam looks like. Like I would
Yeah.
get so frustrated, though I'm trying to be patient, when students are like, is this cultural or is it Islamic? And it's like, as far as we can study as human beings, especially from a religious studies perspective and not a theological one, Islam is what people do in the world. Like, you know what I mean? Like there is no like expression of Islam through human beings that is not cultural and not influenced by culture. And that doesn't, I don't personally find that to be discordant or antithetical to believing in God or like a higher power. But yeah, I mean, like, is she talking about the experience of immigrating? Like, yeah, it would be hard to immigrate and start all over again in a different culture. Like, you could go to China and that would be like a whole new deal. Like, it's not unique to going to a Muslim majority country. Like, yeah, this is the idea that like Islam is antithetical to the West, just kind of posits these two imaginary spaces. I'm actually so glad you brought this clip up. It's so interesting because I saw a bunch of people I know who follow her, and now I'm so curious. Like,
I know
what
a
kind of
bunch of
cachet
people,
she has. Like,
I know
I've
a
never
bunch of
heard
people
of
who
her.
follow. I was like, and it's like a weird mix of
Same. Like
people.
my quick like glance, I was just like unexpected. I bet maybe a lot of people started following her thinking she was going to convert because you kind of have that, especially with white people. People get excited.
Yeah, and she was. If you go back far enough in her Instagram feed, she's like wearing hijab.
Oh,
She's
interesting.
Posing with the study Quran.
Well, I mean, she found
She's-
some good sources to her credit. It's not like she was just reading like fluff.
Yeah, no, she's like quoting Ghazali.
That's
and like,
so interesting.
yeah, so
She
she
does
like.
feel like a little bit of an op, maybe. I'm not gonna lie, but
That's-
like
okay.
maybe it was just her spiritual journey. That's valid. By the way, I'm not offended. Like, there's nothing wrong with like studying something and then being like, oh, this isn't for me. Like, that's totally fine. There's literally nothing wrong with that. Just like her whole like you were saying, her whole kind of like cultures based discourse of she could never really be Muslim. Like, is what you actually mean? Like, I could never be Egyptian. I could never be Indonesian, because like that's fair. But like, I don't think Islam is the issue there. You're just talking about like outsider insider dynamics and what it would be like to migrate to a different country and start all over again, as many people do in this country.
Yeah, she kind of goes on to say like, you know, this is an 8-minute video, so we're not going to play all of it. But she kind of goes on to say that she was in this weird position of like learning about Islam and trying to do so publicly and all this stuff. And that she was sharing that journey, but it quickly became like a lot of people followed her. She got like a big following from it, and suddenly faced all this pressure of like really shitty Muslims and people reaching out.
That is crappy. I feel bad that reverts have that kind of pressure. I mean, she didn't end up becoming a revert, but
Yeah. And like, you know, like a lot of unsavory people just in her DMs and mentions. Obviously, I can only imagine like what sorts of messages she got and stuff. But also just, yeah, the pressure of people being like, you have to convert. And like they're trying to set her on a path when she was like, if we take her at her word and she was doing this in a genuine way, and just exploring and doing it so publicly, whatever. But I have my suspicions that she knew exactly what she was doing, and the white Christian trad wife role is like just so saturated online. Like there are so many of
she
them.
needed a niche.
And this is like an interesting niche to carve out, is kind of like post political US political binary. It's Muslim-ish, Muslim adjacent, anti-Western, but patriotic
Yeah.
woman. I don't know. It's weird.
Based on the small clip you showed me, so I'm sure you know more than I do, it didn't seem like she was like, to her credit, she wasn't like totally dismissive or like I was disgusted by what I saw. But her logic was still kind of hard to follow in terms of like these detailed readings of these classical texts, and then like I could never be a part of that. Like,
Yeah.
you're talking about like, you know, medieval philosophers and like really cool tafsir, and, you know, commentaries on the Quran, you know, that study Quran's obviously contemporary. But like, yeah, just I don't know what that means in terms of you're correlating to joining a community that you haven't told us you've ever visited. Like, I don't know what community you're referring to.
Yeah.
Did she go to Muslim communities in the US? I'm sure she talked to a lot of Muslims online. That's a very particular way of being exposed to something. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But so she goes on to saying like these people who were really pressuring her to convert or whatever seemed to not align with what she was reading in the Quran, which is, you know, this is a weird connection, but, you know, the rules of war and engagement are that you shouldn't harm elderly, sick women, children. You can only like fight against combat men who are fighting you, et cetera, right? And so she's saying that like these people who are coming at her in almost like a violent way,
That they were committing jihad against her.
perhaps, and like really trying to
jihad.
manipulate her. But then she goes on to say this, which goes back to you mentioned immigration earlier.
And to continuing onto that and fully assimilating and becoming a hijabi and all of this. And so here I am reading There Is No Compulsion in Religion, and then a bunch of random lay people are absolutely pretending that there's compulsion in religion. And then here I am reading the rules for war in the Quran saying you cannot harm innocent people. You cannot hurt children. You cannot hurt women. You cannot hurt the elderly, the sick, the disabled. You can only fight military-aged men that are trying to fight you. And then what do you see? You see immigrants from Muslim-majority countries that identify as Muslim in the UK harming innocent people. And I know people are going to say Muslims are not perfect.
Also,
On paper, I was really shocked and pleased really with what I was learning and realizing. But on the ground, in reality, the practical side of it, it's not the same, which leads into my other criticism.
I have so many thoughts.
Yeah.
First of all, fuck you. Young Muslims in the UK are being attacked by like crazy ass white people. Like, I don't know what she means, like Muslims in the UK. I mean, she's talking about people who have been radicalized, but like so have a lot of fucking white nationalists in the UK recently. But okay, I think I've got like two opposite thoughts. One thought is like, I think that's probably relatable to a lot of people to learn about something in concept, especially something that you think may be divine, and then to be like, ugh, like the human version of this is so ugly. Like, I'm sure a lot of people who convert to any tradition feel that way because you really fall in love with the concept, right? And then it's expressed through like messy humanity. It doesn't match up to like what you think you're seeing. Mm-hmm. But she's also hella presumptuous. Like, I mean, I'm sure she studied and thought well and whatever, but just to be like, this white American lady, understand properly, and you heathens, you Muslims out here are not really doing what I was reading. Like what? Like every Muslim she met in real life wasn't matching up to like, and like what? She has 5 seconds of reading about this and she understands. Like she's talking about it as if she's like a fiqh scholar. Like the rules of war in the Quran, there's no chapter called the rules of war in the Quran. There's like centuries of discourse based on like different fiqh interpretations of jihad. Like it's very presumptuous to be like, I got it. These people didn't get it, you know?
Well, here's her response.
Into my other criticism that I know a lot of people disagree with, but it is that immediately after Muhammad's death, Islam was corrupted. Just because the Quran hasn't been edited or revised doesn't mean that Islam is not corrupted. This is my own personal opinion. I know a lot of people are going to not like what I'm saying, but right after he died, Abu Bakr and Umar just immediately got into military conquest and expansion. Muhammad.
Wow, this is a hot take.
Well, what are your thoughts? Respond.
She sounds like a lot of my Muslim students. I mean, there are Muslims, like, yeah, there are people. I mean, usually people, if they're Sunni, are like a little kinder to the Rashidun or the first 4 leaders of the first caliphate after the Prophet died. I mean, yeah, there was a ton of infighting as soon as the Prophet died. And it is a source of shame and like sadness for any Muslims who are well educated enough to know that, whether they're Shia or Sunni. Mm-hmm. I don't know why she's saying it like she's the first person that's ever thought of this.
I think
she's like, I only like the legit stuff. I only like the authentic.
Yeah. Because Islam is not pure. She just like can't be a part of it.
Right. What is the pure thing that she wants to be a part of?
I don't know. But yeah, I just think there's like something, again, not to be too paranoid, but it feels so oppy. And I don't want to stop like, and if this is like an intellectual woman who just like is genuinely learning and enjoying that and talking about it publicly, like go for it, whatever. But again, it feels like there's a cynical approach here because this video has ads. She's monetized her feed, like she's monetized her social media. And I'll give some examples later, but she built a following on this specifically. Like I think her following grew a lot more when she was posting videos wearing hijab and like videos talking about Al-Ghazali. And
people love a white lady in hijab.
Yeah. And then for her to like come out and be like, well, Islam is just, it's beautiful, but the people who follow it are just really, she doesn't say savage, but like, like these corrupted morons, and they're just like, they don't really think rationally. And, like, I'm not even being Islamophobic. I'm saying Islam is beautiful. It's just so happens that the people who practice it are like,
They suck.
or baboons,
Yeah, it's very similar, honestly, to a lot of State Department language. Back in the day, the State Department doesn't care enough to do this now, obviously, but like under Obama, in terms of like good Muslim, bad Muslim, like the kind of like, I've been reading more about this recently. It's kind of crazy that there actually was like monetary compensation of like some Sufi groups. And I feel like that's led, I hadn't thought about this previously, but I think that's led to some of the anti-Sufi backlash we're seeing now. Like I kind of pinned it all on like Wahhabi/Salafi imports from Saudi. And I think that's part of it. But I think part of it also is the kind of post-war on terror sort of framing of like Sufi Muslims are good and like these other Muslims are bad. So yeah, I feel like there's not like, I think that this is something that like the US has done as kind of a foreign policy strategy in some cases, instead of saying like all Islam bad, to kind of strategically pit Muslims against each other and to kind of almost try and cultivate even certain strains of Islamic ideology.
Yeah, it feels very State Department, this whole thing. I guess that's what I'm getting at, is it's either State Department or it was approached cynically. And she's just like, I think I can make money by carving out this niche.
Yeah, and I feel bad because, like you were saying, I don't want to make it sound like I'm not one of those people. Like, I don't think that you have to be Muslim to be interested in Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think that you have to like everything you read to be interested in Islam. I think that's totally fair. But yeah, there is something just kind of weird about the way that she's telling the story.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised to, it's not hard for me to believe that someone who is learning about Islam publicly, like I come across a lot of videos on my feed of like hijabi or non-hijabi, but like clearly Muslim women who are like into fitness, and they're like doing a deadlift.
Me too, it's cool.
Or whatever, and they're wearing leggings. They're wearing hijab, but maybe they're like wearing tighter gym clothes with like moisture wicking fabrics or something like that. And I always go to the comments on those videos because I'm always interested to see what the top ones are. And invariably, like always, it is just like some Muslim guy, Dawah bro, Arab, who's just like, this is not Islam.
Yeah.
Like, this is not, or saying like, my favorite is like, they always write, this is not hijab.
Right. And honestly, the subtext of that, like they're, I've even seen like niqabis online, and in the comments, there'll be one person who's like, why do you have a public platform? And they just really don't want women to exist in public space.
Yeah. And so I don't doubt that someone who is being, publicly interested in Islam and like looks a certain way, whatever,
could get a ton of pressure for sure.
A ton of pressure, but also like a lot of just unearned criticism. And I like hate to be someone who's piling on, but there are things about this in particular.
Well,
and
we're not
like
criticizing the way she looks, or like we're not criticizing what she read,
I'm
or
also
the fact that she was interested in Islam.
Yeah, criticizing what she said. And I guess specifically we are focusing on her language around like Islam.
Other Muslims, yeah.
She's making the same like Islam is incompatible with the West argument that, again, people like Sam Harris and Bill Maher make.
And by the way, this has also been an issue internally within the Muslim American community. There have been some high-profile white converts like Hamza Yusuf, who's a very famous like Sufi convert, who I think now finally there's been kind of like a reckoning with like, he just used very racist language to describe a lot of Muslims. Like he would just be like, I don't know. I think it was in a moment where people were just really looking for like, oh, look, see, we are American. And this like white convert felt very validating. And I'm not saying that everything he's ever done has been bad, but like some of the comments he made after BLM, I think I've mentioned this before on the podcast, were just like absolutely reprehensible. Like did not have a clue, especially given like how much of Muslim American history is like Black Muslim American history. But yeah, just kind of like also just these really vague ideas of like the ummah is backwards today. And I was like, okay, Hamza, like, you're not the white knight here to like save the ummah, like, plant where you're planted, work on the Muslim American ummah, but like don't speak about the entire Muslim global community in such like degrading and generalizing terms.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think even like there can even be like some weird racial dynamics with like white converts that happens even internally in the Muslim community. To be like, I discovered this thing and let me show you how to do it properly, and the rest of you are doing it incorrectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, one last quote from her.
There is a lot of culture in the West that is baked into Christianity. There's a lot of culture in the East that is baked into Islam. And people want to say religion and culture are not the same thing. They are. Religion is expressed through its culture. And
she just made my argument. That's so confusing.
Religion, it's not really universal when it's forced onto people that don't want to participate. And while it might purify their hearts, if they're not choosing, then it's not actually out of grace and love. And I will not cause strife and just isolate myself further and further and further when there is something here baked into the culture around me. There is something in the community that I'm already assimilated with. I feel like for the first time in a really long time, I finally understand what I'm truly fighting for. And maybe I wouldn't have been able to figure that out had I not immersed myself in the world of Islam and talked to a lot of Muslims.
Wait, I'm so confused.
Yeah.
So wait, like exploring Islam, she realized, I'm so confused because I agree with like every other thing she's saying. She's saying that like religion and culture are combined. She's saying that there's a lot of like Christianity in the so-called West, whatever. I don't agree that there's a West, but certainly in the US, yeah. But she's like, oh, this has taught me that like I in fact want to like get closer to Christianity.
I'm not sure. Yeah, it's vague.
Yeah. Also, again, I just can't with this West and East thing. Like, what does she mean that the East is all Muslim? Like, she's just talking about Muslim majority context, right? She's not talking about like Vietnam, China. Like, I'm confused. She's not talking about East Asia, right? What does she mean by the East? I mean, of course, there are Muslims in those places too, but like, I don't know. She's just talking in such generalizing terms about a place that is not geographically real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, just for example, this is one of her older... Oh, go ahead.
I have one more quick thought. I was just say, also the West does not exist. And I actually would like to do a podcast episode on just this, genuinely, because I think people use it without thinking. But I think particularly in this moment of like fascist freefall in the US, it's better that it's like more helpful than ever to kind of reconceptualize. It's a really powerful construct, and it is powerful because we imbue it with power. But there's no continuous geographic place called the West. And like there are countries, if you're talking about like developed countries, you can talk about countries with like higher economic brackets, and often it's because they're exploiting other countries or have historically. You know what I mean? Like it's not a geographic place. The things she's saying
but yeah,
about
I think people use it to refer to, I think people knowingly use it to refer to this like conglomeration of former colonial powers that are all
I don't think she's
in
thinking
Western
about
Europe
colonialism.
or
I
in North
guarantee
America.
you she's thinking about this kind of made up narrative of like Greece begat Rome, begat like Enlightenment Europe, begat us. She's like totally missing the colonial part of the picture. Like, 'cause it's the narrative people are proud of when they're thinking about like the West. They're not thinking about the West as oppressive. They're thinking about it as like ascendant, you know, and like culturally dominant. They're not thinking about it as like economically chokeholding the rest of the world.
Yeah, I don't know.
But also this idea of like, oh, the West is inherently Christian. Like the US is very practicing much more than like most of like economically developed Western Europe. Like if you go to countries like Sweden, like religion is not a big part of public life. It's not a big part of any kind of life. Like, yeah, there are some churches, but like your average person is not very religious. It's a very secular country. So even that is like such a, you know, kind of like generalization.
Yeah.
And like Christian for whom? Like, are you talking about a country that's mostly Protestant or a country that's mostly Catholic, like Spain? Like, you know, are you talking about a country that's mostly like Christian Orthodox? Yeah.
Yeah, just as an example, this was like an example of one of the earlier videos of her posting about Islam.
Where she was more still excited.
Yeah.
Scientific truths in the Quran. I'm going to read another one because, y'all, I'm only 17 pages in, and there's already so much to share. There will be more. But I'm going to read this next one. It also has to do with, like, the formation of the universe. So the other video, we kind of talked about, like, the Big Bang. This says, the science of modern cosmology, observational and theoretical, clearly indicates that at one point in time, the whole universe was nothing but a cloud of smoke. This
What is she
one
reading?
of
The Quran?
undisputed principles of standard modern cosmology.
What is she reading? Not the
Scientists now
Quran.
can observe new stars forming out of the remnants of that smoke. Quran
Wait.
41:11 says, "Then he directed himself to the heaven while it was smoke." As the earth and heavens. have
Okay, so
evolved,
she's doing like the what's up auntie thing.
So
seeing
yeah, she's
science
reading a
in the
book
Quran.
that's like, the science of the Quran. Yeah, that's right.
But also she said she was on Surah 40 and she's only 17 pages in. That's not adding up.
She's 17 pages into this book about the science of the Quran.
I see.
And then she's
reading the Quran at the
reading
same
the
time.
Quran.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. She has 131,000 followers. And even though she said, you know, in that video we watched that she is going to stop posting about Islam, she has like a video highlight. You know how on Instagram you can do a highlight reel? Mm-hmm. She has one on God. The cover thing is an arabesque sort of whatever. And let me click on this. Oh, did she remove all her Islam stuff on this?
Oh, maybe she's staying true to her word.
Oh, no, there's the Quran. Yep. Okay. More Secrets of Divine Love. You read that.
I did.
She is just vague enlightenment stuff. And then Sheikh Abdul Hakim Murad. And she says, Abdul Hakim always has a way of cracking my heart open every time he speaks. Go watch his lectures on YouTube. Yeah. So it's very interesting. Now, in addition to kind of carving out this weird white woman who's really interested in Islam niche, she's also been, like pretty anti-Israel.
That's cool.
But like almost in a way that like Kanye would be if Kanye was anti-Israel. I don't know.
Is she being anti-Semitic or bordering on it? Is she talking about people generalizing terms?
I don't want to say because I can't whatever. Like,
no, you can. It's okay to call out people for being anti-Semitic.
No. I haven't. I can't recall anything. I feel like I've seen some of her posts that I've been like, oh, this is a little tad weird, but maybe that was on stories and I'm not seeing anything that immediately jumps out on her grid.
Okay.
In that way. So
potentially anti-Semitic.
However, she's come out with this line of clothes.
So like modest clothing.
She dropped
Christian
some
girlies.
official merch.
Maybe inspired by the abayas she spent some time looking at.
Called the Woke Reich.
Oh God. Okay, Ahmed, she is anti-Semitic. It's not a what?
I don't know, man.
Okay, stop.
It's a line of clothes called the Woke.
Wait, I want to pause. This is obviously anti-Semitic. That's fucking crazy.
And it has anti-Zionist sweatpants.
Oh, fuck you. You can't say Reich. And we don't, okay, can I just say,
that's actually what yes. So yes, Israel, I guess very anti-Semitic.
Israel is fucking evil, and you hurt the cause by being an anti-Semite. Fuck you. What an asshole.
So this is what gets back to my whole like this feels like State Department.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
This feels like CIA because it's just like this.
So again, incoherent.
She's speaking positively of Islam. She's getting all these like Muslim followers, and then she's like backing off of it in a way that makes it seem like, oh, it's kind of just like me, but like it's because I'm Western and this is like really incompatible with me. But also like I am very pro-Palestine. But really, she's like really just anti-Israel.
Really, she's just like a neo-Nazi, yeah.
And she starts this these all the clothes have swords. It's like things that she designed herself.
Okay, you should have led with this. Now I feel bad that I even like substantively engaged with her because she just seems like a jerk.
But that's why I did it this way is because
like a bait and switch that everyone went through.
Yes, it's like the sinisterness of all of this. You did a good
job. I really do feel like I went through a roller coaster.
And if it's like a cynical ploy, then it's a really well done cynical ploy.
It is. What a
But if it's not, then it's like it kind of breaks your brain. You're like, I don't want to take away from anyone's whatever journey this looks like, but this looks like CIA.
This is okay. Also, this just looks like hate. I mean, it's not a valid journey.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, yeah, you draw the line at like stuff that is like smearing whole groups of people and endangering them. That's awful.
These sweatpants have a sword on one leg and then they say anti-Zionist on the back.
Lol. You are like trying to channel Crusader energy in sweatpants, my friend. That you like already lost the battle.
Yeah.
You're like, I am the ascendant Christian knight in my gray sweatpants. That doesn't make any sense.
And then she has another line of clothing called America First. So these are, I'm reading like she has different like drops of clothing. Mm-hmm. The anti-Zionist one with the sweatpants.
And it's called anti-Zionist?
No, it's called the Woke Reich. And under the Woke Reich.
No, let's not call it anti-Zionist. That's not what it is.
That's what it says on the sweatpants. I'm telling you what it says on the sweatpants.
Like on the butt or something? Like a
yes. Yeah.
God, it's so stupid.
It says anti-Zionist on the Woke Reich sweatpants.
We gotta read something real intellectual in this podcast. This is rough.
And then the other one that I just clicked on to America First, the America First line of clothing has a shirt that says anti-APAC, United States of Israel.
Oh, God. I think you're right. I think there's like a tiny little fraction of the right that is like anti-Semitic and is like unfortunately capitalizing on this moment to pretend they're pro-Palestinian, but doesn't really care about Palestinians. Maybe this lady has some kind of spiritual journey, but maybe it all was just like a ploy. I do think also, sorry.
So she has another line called Christ is King. So maybe she did go back to Christianity.
Oh, it sounds like it for sure, obviously.
Yeah. So this line has shirts and hoodies and stuff on it that say death to the flesh, Christ is King.
God.
So I guess she is Christian.
Yeah, she's like a little crusader in her sweats.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a roller coaster. I was going to say, I think that there is a recognition that like Islam feels kind of punk rock or almost like the new communism for a lot of young people just because it's being framed as like anti-West. So maybe it was a very sophisticated thing to be like, look, I looked into this thing. And it's not what you think it is. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. That's like the whole, that's what's kind of weird about it.
I can't believe you would use Ghazali and the Steady Quran to do that.
I mean, she went to her credit. She went
to some
deep.
like legit sources. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm still recovering. I might follow her. Now I'm curious.
I thought you would like her because of your fascination with evangelicals and
yeah,
trad
no, I'm into
wives.
trad wives. It's a weird crossover.
Yeah, but she's like the
turncoat.
trad wives who you're like, oh, she's on the pipeline to fascism.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But a little Islam curious. Actually,
it's a weird
Milena,
mix.
who I've talked about before on the pod, she's in Michigan. She's the one I think is really pretty. She's got like blue eyes. Sorry, not to like objectify Milena.
This lady has blue eyes. And
She's got blue eyes and
hair.
brown hair. And
This
she
lady
just
has
like
blue eyes and blonde hair.
I have a little crush on her, but she's crazy.
Wow.
But she lives in Michigan, so she actually like knows a little bit about Islam because she clearly has like Muslim neighbors. And she's like talked about going to like Yemeni coffee shops once or twice. So she's like a little, that's like not quite the same in terms of crossover. She never like has studied Islam that I'm aware of, but it's interesting to hear someone who like, I usually think about these people as being pretty isolated, but she's actually not, which is kind of depressing actually.
Well, that's it, folks.
Well, that was a real mix up.
Porn addiction and potential CIA.
Well, thanks for holding us over,
plots.
man. You did an interesting job. It was definitely engaging.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love you.
Okay. Love you too. Bye. You're not supposed to eat it?
No, people say yes.
They said to eat it.
Yes. People are saying not to eat it if you carved it. And not to eat the outside. But not that it would be affect the inside.
They said it's fine to eat a pumpkin that's been painted.
Yeah.
That's on Reddit.
Yeah.
I don't trust it, but more power to you.
I just, if you think about it, it's a very thick flesh.
Yeah.
And so if you're carving all the way inside, I don't know why it would matter.
I don't know.
Silly?
Mm-hmm. We have thick flesh. I wouldn't eat a person who has tattoos.
Well, we don't have a flesh. That's like-
Would you eat someone with tattoos?
I wouldn't eat someone. It's a little different. But the question is, the point is, one, our thick is not as flesh as a pumpkin.
Uh-huh.
And two, it's about the, like, when I drink the blood, I'm not eating the flesh. Is the whole point. We're not eating the pumpkin flesh. It's pumpkin guts. We should start doing a conversation for the podcast. Are you ready?
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.